This documentary project was going to take us to 3 countries in just over a week. So we really needed a camera that would allow us to really work in a run and gun situation, but maximize the story we're trying to tell.
I joined the rest of the crew in London, and that was the first time I was able to get the C100 in my hands. 2 hours later, I was able to manage audio and shoot at the same time, all because of just how intuitive and how easy it is to use.
I'm really impressed with just how this camera fits in your hand and how quickly you have access to any of the functions you're going to need, whether that's the built-in NDs or the waveform.
You can add and remove certain components and accessories, and because of its assignable buttons, it allows you now to place the camera in environments that you wouldn't have otherwise, and that you can make it so that it is more intuitive to you and the way that you would like to see a camera operate.
Just having that side grip and having it be able to grip your hand meant that you could actually go handheld on the back of a motorcycle and get great shots. But then pairing that with the 24-105 L series IS lens, I could even zoom in a little bit and get shots in the rear view mirror, and they were still steady. And then when you add to that the dynamic range that it had, we're able to shoot in natural light, and we're holding all the detail in the sky as we're just driving through the city, and we're just making the most of it as it happens. These aren't produced shots.
4 men have come together in a synergistic way to create an app that takes your heartbeat and turns it into music.
We wanted to meet with each one of the founders. 2 of them are in San Francisco, 1 in Pisa, Italy, and 1 in London, England.
We were able to travel to them and get backstory on how it is that they've overcome the challenges of creating this app that's going to allow people to connect with their bodies, and as a result, we hope, improve their health in a significant way.
Our approach was to have 2 looks and fields combined into one. The documentary, very natural, very intimate side where we'd follow our main characters, do day-in-the-life footage, and then the illustrations of what this technology could really mean in the future. Having dancers dance to music created by their own heart. Having everybody in the crowd feed their heartbeat to the DJ, who is then making music on the fly for that crowd. In both the documentary portions, the very run and gun minimal lighting, and in the produced portions where we spent a lot more time and a lot more lights to set up, we got a really, really strong image. Not a lot of cameras can do that. They're often suited to one scenario or another, but the C100 really excelled in both, and that was really impressive.
There was no typical day on this shoot, bottom line. And so as a result, we had to be as flexible and adaptive as we could. And so you find yourself shooting in an environment that you normally wouldn't want to be constrained to, because generally speaking, cameras don't hold up very well in those environments. However, with the C100, we found that the dynamic range allowed certain highlights to cover in a way that we felt like we are no longer restricted.
To be able to take all of our lights in 2 suitcases, and we were able to light absolutely everything that we shot in 2 countries. Without having the low light ability, we definitely need bigger lights. I can remember shooting Davide's interview in his living room, and we actually lit the background with lamps and candles that he had.
Having a built-in waveform and zebra bars really means you know exactly what's being captured. In the dancing scene, we wanted it to be really contrasty, but we wanted to make sure that our whites weren't peaking and we weren't losing detail in our darks.
There was one scenario where David's playing his piano in his flat in London, and we've got to follow his hands as they're running up and down. We're not able to stop and check focus. We don't want to have him hold and break. And having features like being able to magnify and like peaking really allow us to make sure that we're getting not only critical focus, but that our exposure is always in check as well. We actually shot everything with the lenses we already had. Lenses that we're used to shooting with our Mark IIIs and our 1DXs. And so we brought a couple prime kits and a couple zooms.
One of my favorite lenses on the C100 in this project was the 24-1.4L. Getting in close, shooting a really narrow depth of field on that dancing scene is really going to help pull the viewer into that motion and the energy of their dancing.
For the documentary portion, we really wanted a very nice, clean, well-lit, punchy image. When we get to the produced portions, then we want that to be a little bit more saturated, slightly surreal, and we actually played with the toning a little bit more. We used the extended dynamic range profile, which allowed us to then really take it to either direction. the lasting impression that we have is that it's going to be hard to shoot documentary type scenarios with anything else.
When cameras like this are put in the hands of storytellers who can be concerned with what's going on in the moment and no longer concerned with what's going on in the technical needs of just operating a camera, the future is going to be very powerful.